I saw an online course that Richard Schwartz has about IFS on this therapist.com website. And it's a whole like X-part course, and you get even some bullshit certifications. And real therapists are going through that course to learn IFS. And of course, I buy it, right? I'm saying, hey, I want to learn more about this model. I'll buy it. I'll check it out. And then I watched the first module. It's kind of interesting and cool. And in my mind, I set a little goal for myself that in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to go through the course. And then I decided, because I felt a little conflicted, to do the one meditation that I really particularly liked in one of his books, Greater Than the Sum of Your Parts. And it's a 10-minute, 15-minute meditation. I went through it, and that experience was so useful and helpful. It was the whole conflict about home and where should my home be in the future, that an idea popped up, or an insight bubbled up in me that went, what if you just do that meditation every day? And instead of reading more about IFS and doing more courses and watching it more in action, which is all intellectual, very stimulating and interesting to me, why don't you just practice more? Like just practice every day a little bit and study a little less. And that's what I did. Almost every day I would do one of these meditations that are on there for the past 2 weeks. And instantly I thought, this is how you get really good at things. You actually do them every day. And it's so unsophisticated compared to, there's another 7 books random people have written about IFS that I've all downloaded that I could be reading. And there's a course from the creator that's on this very reputable, I can't speak, therapeutic or psychotherapist website that I could be going through and studying and practicing. But instead of doing all that studying, I just work with a model every day. How about that? How I use the model every day to really work with it within me. And it's been very rewarding. Like I've definitely made significant progress, and it's really been helping me in feeling better and understanding better. It's been also more fun, honestly. Like it boils down to, it's been actual fun to put away all the theory, of which I know enough already, and to just do practice, just do it, just doing the work every day, not theorizing about it. Also, I stopped talking about it as much with other people. And this is difficult for me, but oftentimes now I just go straight to this is a cool model. Here's my 2-sentence summary. And here are 2 books I'll text you that are really great books to start with if you're interested. Get those books, listen to the audiobooks, read the books. The books are good. Instead of, I could easily give an 8-hour talk about this now. And so speaking less about it with others, recommending it less, studying less, learning less details and theory, and just doing it more, like actually doing the thing. And with that started also, I mean, my writing in the last 2 weeks has picked up significantly. And so as I've been writing more, I also started now daily doing a little kind of family council check-in session. And again,
A little what? Check-in session?
an inner family check-in session where basically I open I have a note document and write down the date, Sunday, November 14th. And then sometimes it's clear to me what is going on right now. Like, it could be who is currently driving the wheel, like who's currently embodied in me. It could be this morning. I'll give you an example. I wake up, and the second I wake up, I can tell I'm like, I have nervous energy. I want to get up as quickly as possible. I want to go grab coffee. I want to do things. I have this like go energy. And I try to calm it down a little bit and go, yeah, we're going to go, but relax. It's Sunday. Like it's 8 a.m. We don't have to run. Like we could just go slowly. But that feeling persisted. I walked slowly, but the feeling in me was walking fast. Like it was, it didn't slow down because of me.
Yeah.
And I drank my coffee, I did some talking, and I come back and I sit down to do my inner family council session, just opening the notebook. And I wrote Sunday, November 14th, and I asked, what is that? What do you want us to know? What's that nervous feeling about? Right? Who is that nervous feeling? What does he want to tell us? Like it's clear that it wants to tell me something. What is it? Because I'm not quite getting it. Like I'm getting that we want to do things, but I don't quite get why it is so urgent right now. And then what came out was, let's just for simplicity's sake, let's just say what came out was the part in me that wanted to work and prepare for the week. And I'd actually counseled with that part on Friday, because on Friday at 2 p.m., I'd had a pretty good, productive first part of my day. And I felt like not working for the rest of the day. I felt like not doing all my goals, running, swimming, reading. I just felt like chilling. I'm just going slow for the rest of Friday. I sat down and I wrote, is it okay for the part in me that wants to kick ass and work if we just chill this weekend? And that part responded and said, no, it's not okay. It's totally okay if we chill Friday and Saturday, but it's not okay to chill Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then start Monday behind on the week and having to catch up. It's just going to be so stressful. That is not okay. I'm going to leave you alone and let all of us chill Friday and Saturday, but on Sunday, we need to get these 3 things done. And then I wrote, all right, that's the deal. That's what we're going to do. On Sunday morning, when I sat down to write about, I'd forgotten about the nervous part. And to be honest, when I had coffee on Sunday, I was contemplating in the back of my mind, fuck it, it's such a beautiful day, it's sunny. You only live once. Let's just chill today. Why all these
This
goals?
part isn't real anyway, so the agreement is not binding.
I wasn't actually thinking about that yet. I was
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I was including into this any sort of ambition for the day, even the ones that are fun and private. Like, I always have too many plans. Like, I'm going to write for 2 hours. I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go walk around the lake. There's a lot of fucking things to do. And so while I was drinking coffee and was looking outside, it's beautiful and sunny day, I was thinking, can I just be today and I do what I do, but I don't have to do 13 things. And so I had that kind of a vibe, that temptation in my mind. So as I sit down to write and ask, where's that nervousness coming from? That part comes up and says, well, we agreed we would work today. Please. And this was surprising. I thought that I expected more of an angry critic type voice that's like, motherfucker, get your shit together and do this. But it was more of a pleading voice that said, please, can you please not break your word with me? Please. On Friday, we made an agreement. I held my part. I allowed you, and this is true, I was able to be incredibly relaxed Friday and Saturday. And we've talked about this on the podcast about me never being able to fully relax. Even when I do relaxing things, having some tension in me. That's that part. And the part was saying, I kept my side. Please don't break your word. Don't break the agreement. Please don't do this to me. And that was a very different experience than what I expected when I sat down to write. And I instantly went, oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to break the agreement. It's done. And it's not even work anymore now. I'm going to do it and I'm going to be grateful to be doing it. Because the truth is that I had an incredible weekend with very little tension. It was very relaxed and very free. It was very
amazing.
freeing.
That is dope. That's so dope.
And it felt like talking to a very good friend and realizing, oh, wow, there's something that is really, really, really important to this person. That's really, really important to me. And I can do it. And I wasn't fully realizing this dynamic. But now that I see it, nothing will stop me. And I will love it. And I'll be grateful for doing it. I want to be great to you. And that vulnerability and that almost this, please don't break the word. You're going to crush me. If you break the word, we're back to square one where I can never trust you. Where I always have to push you. When you relax, I always have to nag you and put, please, we made a deal. I kept mine. Don't do this to me today. I was like, so my heart in 1,000 pieces. I'm like, okay. And I sat down and I wrote down the plan of
I love that.
when I'm going to do what, and it was clear to me there was no hesitation, no doubt. I know I'm going to do these things. I'm going to keep my word now that I've got my head straight. And then I went out to the park and I had a picnic and I had a good friend call post MDMA therapy and talk to me. And through the entire time, I was checking in on myself and I was like, wow, I'm so relaxed. I have no inner pressure. That nervousness from the morning is gone. We're just all back to trusting and knowing, hey, we're going to keep our word, right, to ourselves. We're going to keep the word. And there was such a beautiful little experience. This is a delightful thing about practicing IFS is that quite consistently, I mean, there's no silver bullet. It doesn't solve all your problems. It doesn't magically. It's not instant. It requires a lot of patience, right? Because it requires actually a lot of time to really get to know yourself, to actually start trusting yourself and all your different parts and have them really trust you, which is like you trusting yourself. That takes time and patience and real awareness and presence. But one of the most delightful things about practicing the model for me has been these incredibly surprising moments, these moments that shock me because I can feel how true it is what I'm just experiencing, but I would have never been able to think my way to that answer.
Mm-hmm.
Never. Remember the elliptical session where my inner critic, after a week of talking and trying to get access to it and that part ignoring me and not wanting to talk to me, saying, you're such an arrogant asshole. And it was like a shocking, I'm like, out of all the options I could have imagined of what my inner critic that doesn't want to relate to me anymore, what that part would be thinking about me, arrogant was not on the list of things I even considered. And then when he explained it to me and was like, you think you know everything better than me. No matter when I whisper into your ear, we should be doing more of this, we should be doing that. Your response is always, shut the fuck up, I know. So I know we should be this, we should be that. I know. I already know this. And this is true. This is my inner dialogue. When I get like this critical nag, I go, I already know this. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And so that part was like, well, I cannot say anything because you already know everything. And all I should do is shut the fuck up. And like having that sensation of that part of me feeling now that I'm like feeling better than it and arrogant to it, as if it has nothing to offer. Totally unintuitive to me. But when I was experiencing it, it totally clicked. I was like, oh yeah, that does make sense. It absolutely makes perfect sense. But I would have never been able to think my way to this conclusion. Those are the moments that I find delightful in IFS. Also today, when I sat down and I knew it's probably my critic that's like nagging me, is like, go, 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 let's work, let's do things. I didn't expect such a vulnerable message. Like it just was totally not how I was feeling, not what I was thinking. And then when it came out, it was so powerful. I was like, oh shit, okay. Okay, buddy, you're right. I'm not going to break my word. Those moments are really special that I've had with IFS where it's like, wow, this shit is dope and feels very, very beautiful when it happens. When it happens because it feels also very authentic, like something is happening through you and bubbles up within you. It's not something you have figured out up there, analyzed cognitively, worked your way to that result or that conclusion. It's a very different kind of experience. I really like it.
And stuff. Yeah, it's kind of like like a knight without the armor and the weapon, right? Just coming to you, and then you're like, come on, we got it. Please.
Please don't do this to me. Like this part that you would see as this huge, like scary, with the big sword.
Exactly.
And then it comes there and it's like all warm. It's like, come on, man, don't again break your word to me.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit.
I don't want to go back to putting on my armor and my sword and always going berserk. We're all with this. Come on, we both.
You said I should be peaceful, and I was. Can you please also do your part of the bargain? You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love that so much.
Nothing I can say other than you're absolutely right. Thank you for telling me this nicely. But part of how you start relating to yourself in more loving ways, in more open ways, is as you show up for yourself more often, like as I do this work more consistently, as I basically show up to feel myself, to hear myself, to sense myself, to allow all the different parts of my mind and my soul to speak up, these parts calm down. These parts start trusting, they start connecting, they start relating. And it's not this wild war where everybody's fighting everybody for a little bit of a little time on the throne to make the decisions in that moment. But all of a sudden, everybody realizes that, all right, yeah, this is who I am. This is how I feel. These are the different things that are part of me and within me. And they all have good intentions, even the ones that do really harmful things at times. They don't just do, even this like big bad warrior with a sword that has been tormenting me in the past. Maybe he's been tormenting me because he's tormented by me, because he's ignored, because he's alone. It's not just like this. And I think in the past, I've said this a number of times. I always thought all my weaknesses were enemies that I needed to destroy within me. And then I realized that all my weaknesses are children within me that I need to raise. And that was even before I started learning IFS. And this is a very powerful way of describing IFS, because IFS has this very beautiful approach and philosophy where there is no part that's bad and needs to be killed or get rid of. There's only parts that need to be understood better, right? And that need to be helped to do their job or protect the way they've tried in another way, right? To heal the other things they're trying to protect or whatever it is that's going on. And that's such a beautiful, kind of a very spiritual approach at things, because all of a sudden, most other therapeutic approaches, most other philosophies of the mind, of like how to fix oneself, have a sort of judgmental system of good and bad, and we've got to get rid of the bad and we're going to amplify the good, and then you're going to be fine. It's like, I really want to like stop being so lazy, and like I hate the lazy version of me. And it's like I want to destroy it, I want to get rid of it. Or even
cut out the appendix of laziness.
Yes. Or even the really beautiful, mindful meditation, Buddhistic traditions sometimes have this like the ego, the ego. The ego is the source of all evil. The ego is everything's bad. And we just have to like push the demon of the ego back into hell. And then there's going to be the rise of the soulful heaven within us. And there's something to it, but it's also, again, very black and white. Something is good, something is bad. And I love, and I find a lot more wisdom within me. Something resonates much stronger as this seems truly more wise, is this approach of there is no bad parts. There's only hurt and traumatized parts. There's only parts that need help, need more attention, need more understanding. It doesn't mean that if you're doing terrible things to other people, it's like all about, like, this also sounds very like new agey. Like in the outer world, sometimes I'd be judgmental at this approach and go, yeah, people that kill lots and lots of other people, all they need is we should look at their childhood trauma and then like allow them in the world. I do believe that these people, the people that are tormenting other people, I do believe are tormented, hurt people hurt. But we've got to set some boundaries at some point, and some people just need to be in a box because they're just too hurt and not easily fixed. We don't have a way to reliably fix them. So, this is the best we can do. Within us, I find that even parts that are really tormenting us, like when you really look long enough and you listen carefully enough, you find oftentimes a surprising and potentially good reason from their perspective, like from the vantage point of that part in us, this all makes sense. But we just never want to look. I think that's the toughest thing. I think this is really, it doesn't matter what model you use. One of the core issues and challenges is we don't want to look. we don't want to really really get to know, get a good look at ourselves and get it daily, long, patiently, openly, curiously. Just look and go, let me see what I see. That's tough. That's very, very uncomfortable. The level at which anxiety is peaking at that thought tells you a lot about what is going on in your life, right? If there's a little anxiety, but also some curiosity, you're probably in a pretty good spot in your life. When it's just anxiety and terror, you're probably running away from a lot.
Yeah. Also, how much you're even able to look at yourself, right? I mean, you can be like, sit at your, whatever, on your chair and think about yourself and imagine to look at yourself, right? But then when you're in actual real life, sometimes you might act in ways that you're even not aware of, right? Where the impact you have on somebody else is completely different from what the story you're telling yourself in your mind. But that's the real version, right? And you have the decorated, nice version that fits your own narrative, right? And then even having the awareness to say, wait a second, this is not really matching what I am thinking about myself. And then digging in there, and it's also another challenge.
It takes a lot of courage to know thyself, or to attempt to get to know thyself. It takes a lot of courage. That's really it. It takes a lot of courage, because we're all afraid to look. So you have to walk through the fire and look, right? You have to dare to look. And then when you see a demon, when you see ugliness, when you see weakness, when you see shame, when you see these things that terrorize you, can you have the courage to not look away immediately, to keep looking, right? And then even the courage to try to find love for that. And that's then very transformative. And it's not that complicated, but it's one of the hardest things one of the hardest things for a human being to do once in their life, not like daily. But that's the name of the game, There's something cool that Gabor Mate said that I heard the other day, where he was talking about the Buddha and some of the Buddha's teachings. And he said, it's very inspiring to read some of the Buddha's teachings or transcriptions of his teachings and sayings, because these are many thousand years old. But he seemed to have been one of the best first psychologists to ever exist, really understanding the human psyche so powerfully in ways that we're still catching up with, and that we're still we're discovering signs that prove the thing that he said just back then. But Gabor Mate said, there's this one quote where the Buddha said, something along the lines of, whatever your mind creates, it the mind first creates, and then it projects and creates the outer world, the inner world. Whatever the mind thinks, basically, it creates in the outer world. And Gabor Mate was saying that's absolutely true. But what is also true is that first, the outer world is creating your mind, and then your mind is creating the outer world. So he was referring to the first 2 years, the from birth in the womb, growing as a baby, being born in the first 2 years, the environmental influences, the anxiety people will have, the anger, the way they will relate to you, the attachment relationships you're going to have with mother and father and all that, that's going to drastically alter your mind development, your brain development, your inner body chemistry. And then that kind of a mind that has been developed in those early years, that then creates the kind of thoughts that sees a certain world and acts in a certain way and then makes that world real. So it's sort of a circle, and not just that we're all born with these fresh, pristine, new minds, and then it's just about how well do you use it to create a world that's really fresh and pristine and happy. But in the beginning, that mind is being coded by our environment, and then it's running scripts, creating outputs. There's something to that for sure. That's very, very true.
Yeah, I had recently a moment where someone looked at me and said, "You look really upset today." I'm like, "I'm not upset," right? And then I'm like, late at day goes on, and then later again, you're like, yeah, today, are you okay? You look upset. And I'm like, I'm not upset. And I'm like, I'm waiting, slowing down. Wait a sec. If I would be upset about something today, what would I be upset about? What would that be? Right? And then okay. And then I realized, okay, there was something that actually like, was getting to me, and I was kind of doing it's not a big deal thing. Right. And, so okay, I paid more attention to that. I'm like, okay, I want to address that.
I find that one of the things, the people in our lives, especially our children, our intimate partners, our parents, siblings, our really close friends, people that are very close to us, so they see us and feel us more closely. They really are the most important mirrors of our lives. And the way we feel and act around them is really who we are. Everything we do when we're alone and everything we do when we're with like nice new people at a party or like whatever setting is like kind of very gentle and far away from, really hitting your heart and soul. Yeah. That's not who we really are. That's who we are when we can control all our shit and hide all our shit. And we obviously oftentimes like that version well. And then we're like, I never get upset. I never scream. You make me go crazy. It's your fault. You're driving me nuts. I'm never screaming. With you, I'm always screaming when we're arguing. It's not that you're never like that worst version of you. That's you. That is you when you can't hold back. That is you when all the masks are off. You don't like that version of you, but it's not necessarily the other person's fault. The other person is only forcing you to unmask. It's not painting your face. That's what your face looks like, right? It's when you're with strangers, with other people, where you can wear comfortably a mask you find attractive and they will pretend it's real, that you go, what? This is how I really want to feel, right? I don't want to feel like that. But the feeling like that, let's take the screaming or being really angry. Of course, somebody can make you upset. And of course, you can sit alone and not be upset. But oftentimes, that upsetness, that anger was in you before the argument. The material was in you. There was a bomb in you. And then maybe they are the spark. But if you spark a stone, nothing will happen. Like, no matter how many sparks you throw at a stone, it's not going to explode. Right? But if you spark some fucking TNT, it's going to be a mess. And what was that TNT in you? Now, you don't feel it when you're around people that are very watery and nice, and airy. But when you are with that person that can spark you because they are very close to your heart and you explode, you think they threw a bomb at you, but they really often didn't. The bomb was within you. It was not them, right? They were just provided that little spark. They just show you that really ugly mirror that's actually the only mirror that's not distorted, right? Any fucking person that sees you outside looks at you with a strong distortion. They just see your clothing and they make up some kind of a feeling of who you are and what you are and what you feel like. People that know you for a little bit or know you at work, they make up some very distorted image of like, this is Professor Ramin. And they project that into your entire life and they're, this is how he is always and how he feels and what kind of a life he lives. All these people are totally wrong. And how could they be right? Because they know so little of you. They get such a little look at it. But, your partner, your child, your best friends, they have a very different picture of you. They have more information. Their mirror, when they look at you, is much less distorted. Maybe it is, but much less so. And so, the people in our lives, even when they say things like, is something wrong with you? And we go, no, there is real wisdom in pausing and asking, I wonder what made that person say that.
Yeah.
Let me go inside and ask myself, am I really okay right now? Especially if it's somebody that's close to you, they're probably more right than yourself, for sure. Right? They see it written on your face while you're so busy and dizzy in your mind. You don't see your face and you don't feel your feelings. So you just go, no, I'm totally okay. I'm thinking about this and this. No problem. Like, but I do feel weird around you right now. How come?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and especially somebody who knows you really intimate. It really, this is part of the beauty of being alive in a world and sharing it with other humans is that it's impossible to actually know ourselves and experience ourselves without other people. It would be possible to get a honest, full look at who we are without the world, right? And so the people in our lives, they're not just some external force. They're also the only vehicle we have to really look at us from the outside, to get a good look of ourselves. You cannot heal what you cannot see. Like, you cannot fix something if you can't see it. You cannot, without light, you can't really orient and know and feel and grasp and move. And that light, the light to our inner world, are the people in our lives. Like, they are the ones that amplify and shine lights on us. It's not some kind of meditation. It's not some kind of book. These things, which are all practice, help us to accept the light that's shine on us, to be open to those mirrors and what we see. But even with all the meditation in the universe, if you didn't have people, if you were just completely alone in the woods your entire life, it'd be very hard to have any kind of understanding who you are. You would have nobody to relate to, and place yourself in and have any context around. So, the people in our lives are really, really a powerful part of our inner work. One of the most powerful parts, right? And this is something I really like. I picked up by Richard Schwartz. He said it once and it kind of stayed with me. And now I see it in so many other areas of life as well. But, and actually Sophia also said this, but in a very different way at a very different time. When Richard Schwartz works with somebody and does like a little IFS session, let's say with you, I heard him do an IFS session with Tim Ferriss, right, on his podcast. And I heard him now, just a couple of days ago, do one with Aubrey Marcus on his podcast. I actually found the Aubrey Marcus session very interesting, just to really see how Richard Schwartz approaches it and what questions he's asking. I find it enlightening. I thought it was a very, very cool 30 minutes of seeing him do therapy. And Aubrey Marcus seemed much more open to me. He went much further than Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss was very kind of verkopft, very in his own mind and very controlled. So it was not as fruitful in my listening experience, but Aubrey Marcus was more open. And so they could do more. And I thought it was interesting to see some of the ways that he double checked on something, or he phrased the question I found masterful. I thought, oh yeah, you can tell there's somebody who's done this and worked so much with people. It's a really nice way, very calm way of knowing how to phrase a question, how to ask something. I enjoyed it. But anyways, both times I heard Richard Schwartz say to these people that he did IFS with on their podcast, but thank you, by the way, for doing this work. You're not just doing it for yourself. You're also doing it for me and everybody else who's listening. Like, when we do this inner work, we're not just doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for the world too.
Yeah.
Right? As we heal, we become more healing to others. We become less injuring to other people. And also, as we then share our healing and our experience, everything I say on this podcast, every part of inner work that I've done, I mean, most intimately, you've been affected by this. All the work I've done for me and you to some degree, right? Because you're hearing it all and you just are affected by it.
Yeah.
And there's something beautiful about their way of relating to inner work, because inner work oftentimes feels so personal. It's like, I'm just trying to make myself better. It feels also, it's very self-centered, right? You're just very much with, what can I do to change myself, to better myself? Why do I not feel this way? Why do I feel that way? It's very like me. But if you flip that coin and you understand that everything I heal and improve within me, I do for humanity. I do for my family. I do for my children.
It's that quote, like, everybody wants to change the world, but nobody wants to change themselves, right? And this is the exact, I want to change myself. Right?
And it's good to remember that as I am changing myself, I am changing the world. Like I'm doing this work for me, but this work is being done for others, like in parallel. Right? As I
Yeah.
do this work for me, I also help others.
Yeah. So I totally get it. I also think it's funny because like, I remember a while back, we were talking about like the people who were like vibrating and they're raising their vibrational energy to save the world. And now we're doing it all work. But it's true.
It is true.
Right?
Now, the one thing we're not saying is that there's going to be a tipping point where we've done so much inner work healing that the whole universe becomes, like the whole world becomes a heaven. But besides that, I think also, I was talking to somebody the other day and, a lot of our history is family history. And it's not just our family's history, it's their, like it's your parents, where something started, some problem started, some type of trauma happened, and then it was expressed in the way that they lived, and then it was internalized. And when the next generation was born, it was expressed the same way, and then it was internalized with the new generation that grows up. And so it goes passed down from generation to generation.
Shape the personalities and the characters.
Some of these burdens are very, very deep because we felt them so strongly, and there were such universal laws because they have been handed down by 20 generations. It's like that one, painting in the room that's been 10 generations old. You'll have a different feeling for it. You can tell everybody's acting differently. This is a very special painting than all the other paintings that are hanging around. Like you can tell this is and in similar ways as children, we pick up that this is a special kind of thing that's very, very special to our family because it's been handed down for so many generations. Realizing that when you, like they often say, like stop the cycle or something, right? Like you heal that trauma, that generational trauma, and then it stops. You won't give it to your children the way that your parents gave it to you. When you do that, I mean, you should, it only can do that selfishly, so it stops for you. But when you do it, a really powerful and beautiful thought is that it's not just not going to be handed down to your particular children, but not their children and then their children. It could be hundreds and hundreds of people, tens and tens of generations of a pain that stopped because you did the work. Right? Just like when you create trauma, it's not just your pain and your children's pain. It could be pain for, hundreds of years, generations over generations of people in your bloodline that are carrying that burden and that pain because they are being born and raised with it. And when you stop it, it could stop for not just one person or one little family, it could stop for many, 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 many families afterwards, which is a beautiful thought. Again, like putting our own life in the context of something greater than just us, I think, it adds something to, I think, the beauty of the experience or you should be doing it for the 10th generation. You have to do it for yourself in this very life. But it's beautiful to consider that this little thing that you cleared or cleaned, or this thing that was very personal to you that you worked on and healed, will not just affect you, right? Will affect lots of humans. And it's impossible to say to what degree this will influence, the world in small or big ways. There's something poetic and beautiful about that.